You know what we've got to do is stop sabotaging our own birthdays, our friends' birthdays, our enjoyment of parties by fixating on, oh my God, there's going to be cake, they're going to have cookies, they're going to have pizza, and I'm definitely going to lose control. I just know myself. Today, we're getting all into navigating birthday parties, in particular, when you are a compulsive eater, when you feel out of control with food. We've got to stop setting ourselves up for failure by fearing the food. So how can you get around that and make parties something that's for pleasure and not something to be dreaded and mulled over?
You are not the only one who feels this way. What Hannah and I have learned from doing this work for years now is just how many women actually fear their own birthday party because they don't feel in control of food and they feel like everyone's watching them. And we're like, am I the only one who's like sweating over this? This is weird. Am I like completely insane for not being able to enjoy what is the party? I promise you, like most of the women there are having the exact same internal experience. They just don't say it out loud. And we're here to change that. I remember whenever I would be going to a birthday party or it was my own birthday, I would be sweating it out over fear that I would overeat so dramatically that I'd be massively bloated and feel sick. By the end of this video, you're going to understand what's actually going on here. This is a scientific phenomena. We can measure it, we can study it, we're going to explain it, and then we're going to give you a couple tricks or ways you can navigate this and behave differently and start to change your relationship to birthdays, parties, and birthday cake specifically.
So who are we to be talking about this? So my name is Hannah. This is Laura. We are two sisters. I am a sociologist. Specifically, I'm really into food, our relationship with food, our identity with food, and how that impacts the way we interact with others and the world around us.
I am a clinical nutritionist. So I study what happens with food on a biochemical level. Hannah studies what happens with food on a population level. And both of us recovered from our own disordered eating and food addiction and sugar addiction. And it took, God, at least a decade for both of us to figure this out. So now that we used our careers and studying science and then applying it to our own lives, we're basically obsessed with just sharing what we've learned with everyone we can find. Because one thing we know to be true, most women in America are keeping the secret that they feel out of control with food. And they're just trying to keep the secret from each other. Mm-hmm. And we just want to start cracking that open and normalizing, like, this isn't your fault. This isn't weird. This isn't some sort of moral or character weakness. We just need to learn the behavior science of how to like change this relationship and get control of our behavior. So that's what you can expect to find a hell of a lot of on this YouTube channel.
Welcome to Sugar Sober.
Welcome. When you're feeling that core anxiety, that actual fear around birthday cake and what's supposed to be a celebration, this is an actual scientific phenomena. And Hannah's going to dive into the research just a little bit so you can get a real clear mental picture of like just how normal this is.
So in 2014, there was a study done by two researchers, Boyce and Roline, not sure. And what they found is there was two camps. There are people who associate chocolate cake and feel guilt, and there are people who associate it with celebration. So we have two totally different sides of this poll here. People who associated the cake with guilt were actually less likely to have self-control around it or other foods. When you feel celebration towards it, you actually had more self-control and you were more likely to lose weight. They were looking at weight loss, but the really more important thing to us here is about concern, guilt, and shame are really counterproductive to being in control with food. It almost becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. We're telling ourselves, when I am in the room with chocolate cake, I cannot control myself. When you tell a kid that they're bad, they actually start misbehaving more and more. And it's the same thing when we're talking to ourselves. So actually, allowing yourself just to feel that celebration and feel that joy is actually going to set you up for success in being in control with cake whenever you see it.
I will never not be obsessed with this study, because so much of the language we hear around cake is I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe around this. I don't feel safe around this. And what's fascinating to me is you are quote unquote safer if you let yourself celebrate with cake. That's such a turn it on its head thing. Like, I don't feel safe with all this intuitive eating talk and being like, oh, just eat what you want. Like, that is an absolute disaster for me. What we know from the science is it's the story you have telling you it's unsafe to explore this that keeps you unsafe. And that's where we want to target our focus. So here's something we feel really strongly about. It is not your fault that you fear your own birthday cake. Like this has been baked into, pun intended, how we are told we should think about chocolate cake, birthday cake, dessert. You're doing exactly what you were told to do. What we're here to tell you is the science demonstrates that's the wrong way to go about it. It doesn't work, and it continues to fuel the cycle of overeating. That's where behavior science comes in. We can break this behavior chain, but we got to start with the relationship you have with your birthday cake.
In a diet, we say, well, just cut it out completely. Don't involve it whatsoever. And this is saying it's not really about the food itself. It's about the stories you're telling yourself. It's about your thoughts and it's about your behaviors. So how does this help you right now? You probably clicked on this video because you have a birthday party coming up, your own birthday party, happy birthday, or somebody else's birthday party that you need to go to. And so you're wondering, like, what the hell am I going to do with my hands while I'm there? How am I going to keep my mind from running over and over about all the desserts on the table when I just want to talk to my friend? The temptation is often to go on some crazy, like, restrictive diet leading up to it. Like, I'm just going to be so good this week. I'm going to meal prep. I'm going to eat salad for lunch every day, skinless, boneless, seasonless chicken and broccoli for the week. And then I will be so used to being in control, I'm going to be fine when I'm just let loose in a room with chips and cookies and cake and booze. It's not going to happen. But actually what you need to do is don't go on that crash diet. Do not do it. Because what you're doing is you are reinstating to yourself that you need to follow really strict rules because you can't handle yourself. And if you don't let yourself have a single sweet for a week, and then you're face to face with your fear, the chocolate cake, you're not going to be set up to handle it. The diet didn't teach you any skills on how to handle chocolate cake. It just said, don't do it. And now you've been depriving yourself of it. So don't do the diet. Actually, just eat normally and have a few sweets here and there throughout the week. That's something that feels good, that you enjoy. And that kind of ties into this next one that I'm going to say, doing your food journal, the Sugar Soba Food Journal. We talk about this all the time, and we're not going to shut up about it because it's so critical. This journal is all about tracking not just what you eat, but how you feel when you're eating it, what the situation is it compulsive or not, depending on how you define compulsive.
So we now have, sitting in front of us, the scientific evidence that how you feel about the food is what's more correlated to the behavior than the food itself. Seeing cake as guilt and something to shame is correlated with worse behavior with that food, right? So wouldn't it make sense to track how you're feeling about food and use that as your entry point to change your behavior? That's why starting food journaling right now is the answer. That's why we food journal this way, the Sugar Sober way. Here at Sugar Sober, we have something really exciting in the works that's going to be launching soon to help you get control of what you're eating through food journaling and being really, really aware of when your thoughts about the food are fueling the exact problem eating you want to stop. So that's coming. But in the meantime, you can start this now. You can start food journaling now.
There's a link below where you can find the food journal and the links to print out free individual sheets of it, or you can get the full book, which is also very nice because it helps you go back, reflect, look at all your past stuff. And that's a really big part of using the food journal, is you're not just writing in it, you're actually using it to reflect on.
If fearing your own birthday cake, if having a hard time with food pushers, if not being able to not overeat anytime you have a few drinks, any of these food addict behaviors, if this feels like you, if this whole conversation felt very like, oh my gosh, they see me, please subscribe, reach out to us, and we want to help you learn how to get control of your food, and we want to do it in community. We want to do it with each other. This isn't something you go fix yourself and then suddenly you show up with the big reveal and you're all different now. Like, we need people around us who get it and who see what's possible for us. So that's coming. Make sure you're subscribed, and from there you'll always be in the loop on this new exciting launch we have coming. Wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up.